Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something that's, well, a huge leap forward in AI, LLM agents. We're going to go way beyond just generating text and see how these models can actually reason, plan, and, get things done in the digital world. Let's jump in.
So we all know that large language models are amazing at writing stuff, right? They can draft an email, summarize a huge article, even write a poem. They can definitely talk. But can they act? Can they go from just being a chatbot to being an agent that actually accomplishes goals for you? That is the big question we are tackling today.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by defining what an LLM agent even is and how it thinks. Then we'll see one in action analyzing some data. After that, we'll touch on some more advanced stuff, see how we can give agents their own custom superpowers, and then wrap up by looking at what's coming next.
Okay, so let's get right to it. What exactly is an LLM agent? Well, it's a really big shift from the simple text-in, text-out models we're all used to. We're moving towards a system that can actively work towards a goal. This is the key definition right here. An LLM agent uses the language model as its brain, its reasoning engine. Its whole job is to look at a goal you give it and then figure out the right sequence of actions to take using whatever tools it has available to get that goal accomplished.
Here's a really good way to think about the difference. A standard LLM is kind of like a great writer. You give it a prompt, and it gives you back some really well-written text. An LLM agent, on the other hand, that's more like a really smart intern. You don't give it step-by-step instructions. You just give it a high-level goal, access to some tools, like a search engine or a database, and it figures out all the steps to get the job done, all by itself.
But how does this intern actually think? What's happening under the hood? It all comes down to this really simple but incredibly powerful repeating cycle that we call the core loop.
The whole process really boils down to just 3 steps that repeat over and over. First, there's a thought. The LLM looks at the goal and thinks, okay, what's the next logical step? Then it takes an action, using one of the tools it has. And finally, it makes an observation. It looks at the result of that action. This thought-action-observation loop just keeps going until the original goal is finally complete.
All right, so theory is one thing, but let's make this feel a little more real. We're actually going to watch a data analyst agent tackle a task, and we'll get to see its internal monologue as it works through that core loop we just talked about. So here's the mission we're giving it. We've got a data set about climate change, and we're just telling the agent to analyze it and write up a short explanation. Notice we didn't tell it how to do the analysis, just what we want at the end. And there it is, the very first thought. The agent isn't just jumping in blind. It's reasoning that before it can explain anything, it first needs to figure out what it's even looking at. This is the planning stage, right in action.
So, based on that thought, the agent picks an action. It decides to use its Python tool and runs the pandas command df.info. Now, for anybody who's done data analysis, this is like step number 1. It's how you get a quick overview of a data set. What are the columns? What are the data types? That kind of thing.
And boom, it gets its observation back. It now knows it's working with a pandas data frame. It's got 10,000 rows and 9 columns. This result completes the first loop, and now this new information is going to feed directly into its next thought.
And the cycle just keeps going. That first observation leads to a new thought. Okay, I know the data structure, now I need to see its statistical properties. And that, of course, prompts the next logical action, running df.describe. The agent just keeps repeating this loop until it has enough info to actually give us the explanation we asked for.
So that basic loop is really the foundation of everything. But agents can get way more sophisticated than that. Let's just quickly touch on a few more advanced features that make them even more powerful. For example, a lot of agents use a framework called REACT, which stands for reasoning and acting. It just helps make that thought-action-observation loop more reliable. We can also give agents conversational memory. This is a huge one. Without it, a chatbot wouldn't remember what you said 2 seconds ago. With it, it can have a real back-and-forth conversation. These kinds of upgrades let agents handle way more complex jobs.
And those advanced capabilities are really powered by one of the most important ideas in this whole space, tools. Because at the end of the day, an agent is only as good as the tools you give it.
This is where the real magic happens, because we, the developers, get to define a totally unique set of tools for an agent. It could be a function to query our company's private database, or an API for a stock trading service, or even a simple tool to send an email. This is how you really tailor an agent for a specific task. And here's what a custom tool looks like.
It's got a name, which is what the agent uses to call it, and a func, which is the actual code that runs. But look at that last one, the description. This is everything. It's so important. The description is just plain English that tells the LLM what the tool does, so it knows when it should use it. A good description is the absolute key to making sure the agent can reason effectively and pick the right tool for the job.
All right, so we've seen what agents are, how they think, and how we can give them their own custom tools. Let's kind of put it all together and think about what this really means for the future of AI.
The really big idea to take away is this. When you combine the incredible reasoning power of an LLM with a well-designed set of tools, you completely change what these models are. You transform them from just thinkers into doers.
And that really brings us to the final question. The possibilities here are just about endless. I mean, an agent could manage your schedule. It could analyze sales data from your internal database. It could automate really complicated workflows. So the question isn't just what can agents do, it's what problems are you going to solve with them? What tools will you give your agent?
And that's all for this one. If this breakdown helped you wrap your head around LLM agents, please do me a favor and hit that like button, share it, and subscribe. We'll be back soon to break down another complex topic. Thanks so much for watching.